Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Sonia. Here on my channel we have healthy discussions about life, love, dating, and relationships while promoting self-love, healing, and healthy dating. Tonight I'm going to talk about Married at First Sight, Season 14, Episode 18, or Reunion Part 1, Boston. Just in case you're new here, I don't do a traditional review. I just kind of give my analysis. I offer perspective, give insight, or advice regarding the show. Okay, but before we get started, I number one want to say thank you to everyone who sent positive vibes, words of encouragement, and who really just supported me in my last video where I spoke about a loved one who is transitioned. That loved one has transitioned. However, my family and I right now are in a really good place. So thank you for your prayers and support. We just love that they made the decision for themselves. They don't have to suffer anymore. They're not in any more pain. And we were there as a family and a whole unit. So that's what's important to us. But I thank you so much for your love and support. I will be MIA next week. I may do the reunion, part 2, and where are they now together. I should be back settled and back to my normal routine then. But I really do from the bottom of my heart want to say thank you guys so much for your love and support, and just for putting some hearts down in the comment section. I really do appreciate you. Thank you. I also want to say thank you to you if you are a new subscriber to my channel. Thank you so much for subscribing. If you're passing through, please consider subscribing to my channel if you like the content. I do dating and relationship, life, and self-love advice, and we do lives here, so there's going to be more of that coming to my channel. Also, if you are coming back, welcome back, family. So good to see you. Thank you for returning and continuing to support me. Your support of my channel is so appreciated, so thank you so much. All right, let's get into the reunion. Number one, I want to say everyone looked so nice. The men look really nice. The ladies look really nice. I love the new decor of the stage. That was nice. So I want to say everything looked really nice, because I couldn't take the after party stage or setting anymore. I'm like, please someone update it. So I love that they brought the warm bluish gray color with a hint of gold. Like, I like that aesthetic. It's more welcoming, it's comforting, it's relaxing. So you know, they say blue is good for your mental health. Blue paint is good for your mental health. So the cast is there. Everyone's talking about what they've learned, how they've grown, how they've had a moment of self-reflection, especially Elijah. He said he's had a lot of time to really look at himself and make some correction, or he just said reflection. I hope he meant correction as well, though. And we have Alyssa and Chris. Chris said he's doing well. He's gone on by his life. He's dating now. Alyssa is still a good person, and she is just focusing on herself. You know, everyone says they're doing well, but we're going to get into each couple and kind of go from there. So first up, we have Elijah and Katina, and I just want to say this. They look very nice, and I love Katina in red, okay? But I will always let individuals know the best apology for behavior is changed behavior. And I don't think they really got into whether or not Elijah's behavior has changed. Elijah did acknowledge that once he saw himself, he saw how terrible his behavior was. He had to self-reflect, but I did not hear him say he had to self-correct, and that is important. But he did say he has to he self-reflected. I did not hear Katina say that his behavior has changed either. So I am just hoping that his behavior has changed. He did acknowledge that his tone could have been different, his delivery needed to be different, and he needed to respect his partner. He also said that he has gotten rid of the house. They moved into an apartment. They're starting new. They're starting fresh. I believe people can grow and change, right? If I didn't believe that, I wouldn't want to be a nurse. I wouldn't want to be a life coach. I wouldn't want to mentor. I wouldn't want to educate. I wouldn't want to do any of these things, because why? If I don't believe people can change. I've seen change in behaviors. I've seen changes in myself. Healing has helped me out a lot. There's a lot of ways and things that I used to do that were learned behavior that I had to unlearn. There are things that I did to protect myself that I've learned that, you know what, this is not a healthy way to protect yourself, and you need to communicate properly or handle your triggers or whatever the case may be, depending on the situation. There's a better way to go about things. So people can change and people can grow. I've always said that with Katina and Olajuwon, they need mentorship, and they need help with communication, and they're going to have a lot of growing pains together because they haven't had that structure. They don't have a solid foundation, so they're figuring it out amongst one another. And if both of them agree to show up in this relationship and work on themselves and work on the relationship, I think they can be successful. Katina is still working on letting her walls down, which I believe is a triggering fear for Olajuwon, because I do believe Olajuwon has some issues with abandonment, and I think her not showing emotion makes him afraid that she may leave. We knew even from the wedding that he requires attention and affirmation. Now, it's up to Olajuwon to address those issues. You have to deal with your own insecurities. Your person doesn't make you happy. You and your person can have a happy life together. Y'all can have a happy, healthy relationship. But that person's job isn't to make you happy, isn't to make you feel whole, isn't to feel that hole that you have. You have to work on yourself. So I hope that he's doing that work. I didn't hear them say that they were in therapy, but I hope they're in therapy. I hope they're getting help with communication and things of that sort, and just learning how to be respectful. I did say in my reviews before that I wish that Dr. Pepper, when she sat down with Olajuwon to address her concerns about how he spoke to her and how he was talking down to her, that she had shown him videotape so that he can see his behavior. But I will say this: relationships are mirrors, especially marriage, and they will really show you who you are, where you're weak, where you need to grow. You know, you can get so far by yourself, but it's not until you're in a relationship with yourself and you have to deal with another person's personality do you really get to know you. And it doesn't have to be a romantic relationship. It could be a friendship as well, a work relationship as well. We learn a lot about ourselves when we interact with people. So I'm happy to hear that they are moving in a happier direction. He's gotten rid of the house. He's gotten rid of Isaac. He says he is living, his life anew with Katina. They're starting over, and he seemed happy, and she seemed as happy as Katina could seem. Katina doesn't show a lot of emotion, really. Like she really couldn't cry with the ring. But you know what, guys? I was looking, and I don't know if they filmed the one-on-ones first and then did the group and just edited differently, but she had that ring on when they were sitting on a couch. So I'm like, I'm not sure how this went, but anyway, it doesn't matter. He got down on his knee. He proposed to her again, or just said, basically, you stuck it out. I'm giving you this ring. We're going to start anew. You want to be with your husband. Let's move on. And she seemed very happy about it. Bottom line is, again, self-correction and self-reflection will help a relationship go far. And I just hope that they continue to do that. They showed a little clip about their intimacy, and I said I thought that those two were having sex. It may not have been penetration, but they were having some kind of sexual relation, and that was alluded to. That was a cute little moment. And I know there's probably going to be some people like, he always want her to serve. Olajuwon is a show off, so I'm pretty sure Olajuwon has showed off. I think that was part of the reason why she may have been having some struggles. Like, I know how much I got here. How much more do you have to offer? But Katina also said that her gut kept telling her, don't give up on him. Don't give up on him. Olajuwon said, my dad sent you to me. I know this woman is for me. And that very well could be true. I'm not going to doubt what he is saying or what she is saying or what they believe until I see something different. They've stuck it out through some good times and some hard times. I just know that it is very important for Katina to stand her ground, to love herself, to require that he treats her with respect and honor, to require that he communicates to her in a respectful manner. Like, she's going to really have to dig in with him. And she may have to play back some of his behavior in however way. Like, she may have to say, you said this exactly, you know. But I hope he's working on himself as well. And he's working on his insecurities. And again, his tone and his delivery and things of that sort. Now, I've said before that I do believe there's oftentimes truth in what he says. It's just how he says it. They talked about Katina's cooking and it being inedible, and everybody was like, that's so terrible. But the chicken was raw, y'all. And although there was a way for him to say it, he didn't have to say it or put it out like that. Raw chicken is pretty dangerous. If you know how to cook, you know what well done chicken looks like. You don't even have to worry about the timer or anything. You can look at it and tell. But the air fryer cooks chicken at 400 degrees. So I'm like, Katina, honey, when did you take it out? But, and again, I'm not judging Katina. She's learning how to cook. Just learn how to cook. And be careful, Elijah Wan. You don't have to always air your information out or your dirty laundry out in front of everybody. Like, learn to protect your wife in settings. You know, he's like, keep it real, going wrong. But all in all, they look happy. They've compromised on a couple of things. They've compromised on when they're going to have children, how they're going to travel. And that's what it's all about. 2 months or 8 weeks is a short period of time to get to know a whole stranger, to say that you're married, and to plan out your lives. And there's a lot of learning curve there. I just hope and pray again that they have a healthy relationship and they seek out resources to help them. And he's properly managing his diagnosis, and she's dealing with her past and he's dealing with his past, and that they learn to work together, because they could have a beautiful thing, but there's some areas you want to work on. You never want to be verbally, emotionally abusive to your partner. So those are the two who I said was going to be an extremely toxic couple, and they did have their moments, but they stuck it out and stayed together, and I honestly didn't think that they were. So we'll see where they are later, but I'm pretty sure they're still together. I think they've decided on one another, which that's the first step. So we'll see. What are your thoughts on Elijah Wan and Katina? Next up, we have Alyssa and Chris. And Chris says that he knows what he wants now. He's living his best life. He's dating. He gets the tough questions out the way early so he can date with intention and find his true partner. And that's good, because I had concerns about Chris. I was like, how is it that you are a serial monogamist, but you've never found one single person that you wanted to settle down with? And how do you feel like Married at First Sight can help you, especially with their track record? But he said the show has helped him know exactly what it is that he wants. And so he's out here dating. He hasn't found a significant other yet, but he's dating. And that's good. Good for Chris. And then we have Alyssa. Alyssa has some dishonest moments. I'm not going to go over them, but we all know she has some dishonest moments. But I do want to say, I do believe that Alyssa went along with parts of this show because she thought it was a contractual requirement, and I also think maybe the producers were trying to get her to maybe give Chris a try, but it just didn't work out and actually ended up making her look worse. I do think she needs to be accountable for her behavior. It's one thing to say, listen, these are the things that I was looking for in a mate, and you guys promised me this, but how she acted out, her behavior was poor, and it reflected poorly on her. So it's just about being able to communicate what it is that you want or what your grievances are that makes the difference. So it's just how she handled the situation. But she isn't dating. We don't know what Alyssa really is doing, honestly, and that's okay. That's okay. They review the honeymoon and some footage of her, you know, basically saying she wants the expert, she doesn't want the expert, she hates them, she hates Chris. And it just wasn't a good look for her. It didn't look mature. It didn't look stable. It just didn't present her well. So she lets us know, you know, that she's a good person and her intentions were pure. And I don't think the issue is her intentions being pure as far as finding someone. I think the issue is how she handled not getting what it is that she stated she wanted, and why she wanted to stay on the show after she made it clear that she didn't want to move forward with Chris. And so I think that's the issue more than anything, but she's kind of ignoring that part of the issue and sticking to, you know, commute issues, and we were going to have the film and things like that, which I do believe there's some truth to it. I do believe that maybe they did have the film, but the bottom line is she said out her own mouth that she wanted to be with the girls and she wanted the experiment, and she felt like she was being cheated from the experiment. Like, I signed up to stay here, I should be able to stay. This could be real world married at first sight. I forgot who I heard say the real world. I thought that was cute though. But yeah, I don't really have a lot to say about them. I hope she actually does kind of grow up. You know, I've said before, I think Alyssa needs some time to grow as an individual. Some maturing needs to happen. You know, you have to handle yourself a certain way when you don't get your way. You won't always get your way in life. There's a way to do things, and be careful and mindful about burning bridges, you know, and how you present yourself to others. So that's it. I wish them both the best, and I hope their doggies are doing well. They didn't ask about Chris's dog. I'm surprised. So that's it on the two of them. Next up, we have Mike and Jasmina. You see how close Jasmina was sitting to Mike? She was practically on his lap. She had her leg close to his leg. She kept leaning into him. At one point, she kind of like nudged him and he moved his arm like, get off me. I think Mike is frustrated with Jasmina. This is a couple that in the beginning I thought was a couple that could make it, and I still think they could have made it. I think they got in their own way, but what's meant to be will be, right? But I think they feel like they got in their own way. As far as Jasmina was concerned, I think for her, she kind of wants to chase, and a lot of times people who have issues with abandonment or an avoided attachment style really needs a whole lot of security, and I don't think Mike offered the level of security that made Jasmina feel safe. And I think that was a huge barrier with them that could have been resolved had they just communicated. Dr. V could have, in my opinion, done some work with them to really help them with their intimacy, help them with communication, and just help them work through their issues once they were on the other side. Once she, as Jasmina said, saw that he was a really great guy with a good heart. I wish they had started doing the work there, because some of those walls, not all, but some of those walls came down enough where I think she would have been more receptive. Jasmina had said a couple of times how she was worried that he was going to say no on decision day. So like I said last time, I don't think that it is she's not attracted to him. I think she did become attracted to him. I do think it was a point where she wasn't. And she said it, I was turned off because of how he treated me, which we learned that he stopped talking to her after a month related to the aggressive statement. Now, Mike did say that he was aggressive initially, and then he took it back and he decided he didn't want that narrative attached to his name. And I know that people say he's never shown signs of aggression, but I have seen his undertone, and I'm not just going to discredit her. We didn't see it on film. However, again, he initially admitted to it and then he took it back. So there's that. But here all this time, I thought that she really didn't forgive him, but no, he got mad at her and he decided, I'm not going to talk to you for a whole month. So I still think Mike has some issues with Jasmina, not only with that, but just I think he maybe feels a little rejected, and I think she was afraid of being rejected. It's odd. They have the same issues. All they needed was some help. So I hope for the future that they get some help individually, right? Learn to let those walls down. Learn to communicate your wants and needs. Because Jasmina could have said, I would like for you to compliment me. Now, is that something Mike should know? Yes. Mike took the stance, I believe, that I've tried to ask for help before, you won't give it to me. Like, Mike strikes me as somebody who can be a little spiteful, a little vindictive, and Jasmina, it's the same way. And I think once you shut him down one time, or once you say something one time, that's it for him, right? And so he was like, no, I have tried to ask you how to communicate with you. We argue. I have tried to ask you what you need, and you won't communicate it, so I'm done. And Jasmina, that behavior is true. You've known that there's been an issue, and Jasmina could have gone to Mike and said, listen, here's the truth. These are the things that I will need to get over that hump. You know, these are the things that will make me want to be more intimate with you, because I do care about you, because I have grown to like you, because we do have a friendship. And she didn't make that move. She standing off. I think she likes the chase. And again, people who have issues with abandonment, you know, they want to make sure that it's safe, that you're not going to leave. No one wants to deal with the feeling of rejection and or leaving, especially if they haven't healed that. Now, once you've gone through a healing phase, you realize that people come and go in your life, and that's okay. And you can learn a lesson from it. And although it may hurt or upset you, you can learn from it and grow from it. But when you haven't done that healing work yet, all of it is just too much to bear, and you feel like you're starting over at ground zero all over again, and no one wants to feel that, so they resist it, right? And I feel like that's what's happening with the both of them in their own way. But Jasmina was flirting with him then, and he is completely blocked off. We also learned that he would never compliment her. As pretty as she showed up so many times, he would never give her a compliment. And my question is, why, Mike? Why won't you at least give her a compliment? Are you not comfortable with complimenting her, or you were being spiteful and you decided not to compliment her because you were frustrated at what she did initially? Like, they have to learn in the future to forgive their mate if they're going to stay. If you're going to stay, you have to learn to forgive. You have to learn to communicate. You got to let things go. If you are going to leave, then leave. But if you're going to stay, there's no need of wallowing in those feelings, because you can't move forward. It isn't healthy for your relationship, and it will be the demise of your relationship. I always say pride and ego. Pride, ego, poor communications, those are relationship killers. You have to get out your ego, have to let your pride go. You are a partner, you have a partner, you're in a partnership. You guys have to work together, and you have to say what you need from your partner. And I know we don't like that word need, but the fact of the matter is, there's things that you need to feel safe. There are things that you need to move forward. There are things that you need to forgive. There are things that you need to help you in this relationship, and the same for your partner. So talk about what it is that you need to get over humps, to feel better, you know, things like that. When I talk to people about infidelity, and if they are deciding to stay together, the question becomes, what do you need to feel safe again? You know, or any other issue. It doesn't have to be infidelity. Some people don't need anything. They don't want anything. They just want to walk away, and hey, that is your choice. Everybody has their non-negotiable. You stick to your non-negotiables, right? But if you're deciding to stay, you have to be able to speak to your needs, wants, and desires. What makes you feel safe? How can you move forward? And if they are reasonable and you and your partner can work on that, then y'all can move forward. If not, it may be time to part ways, but have that discussion. And I really wish they had gotten help, because Mike said something. He said, I didn't have the tools, and he didn't. And no one stepped in to offer those tools either. And for me, that is where the frustration is. So we find out that Mike called and was like, I'm not getting what I need from this relationship. Jasmina said, well, I've been trying. I texted you, you know, and that's another thing. Jasmina is more comfortable in these long distance relationships. I talked about that in my last video. That does not help when when someone needs to be next to you, or you need a certain relationship. I wish when they decided to break up that they had a plan, and that they were getting help. They were going to therapists. They got them a coach. I wish they had gotten help, you know, but they didn't, unfortunately. So here we are. but his needs weren't being met, which good for him for expressing that. She feels like texting is enough. That's not enough. That's not enough for a marriage. That's not enough for a relationship. We go from living together to texting one another. And she said, well, he made one plan. It's like, you guys could have moved together. And I said that in my last video. Y'all could have moved together. Even if you got a 2-bedroom where y'all had separate bedrooms, but you were coexisting in this place and space. But like I said, at the end of the day, they're not together. He said he has someone that he has a little interest in, but he hasn't completely moved on. And I think part of him still wants Jasmina, but he's upset with her and he's kind of dug his heels in. And so, you know, because she gave up, he's given up, you know, although he's the one to make the phone call, because he said, even though you knew there was a chance we could have gotten back together, you still just let it go, basically. And she was like, yeah, because, you know, you said it was over. And I felt like I was putting all this effort. Again, I wish they would just get some help. It's okay to have feelings. It's okay to have emotions. It's okay to kind of work through things if you feel like the person in the relationship is worth it and it is not detrimental to you. Those are the things you need. You can move forward in a relationship if you feel like it's worth it. And if the person is worth it and it isn't detrimental, it isn't damaging to you. You gotta want to do it though. So the both of them gave up and they've moved on, and we'll see what happens. I can't wait to see the Where Are They Now episode, to see where they are, because I think by then they would have seen the whole they would have seen the whole season. So we'll see. But that's it for Jasmina and Mike. But they look nice. I love the green. I love the blue. But Jasmina was on that man. She was almost in that man's lap, honey. I'm like, Jasmina, just, if you would just say to him, Mike, I want to start over. I want to work on this. I am into you. You know, yes, you are a friend to me, but this is how I can become attracted to you on an intimate level, become more intimate with you, or sexually attracted to you. This is what I need. Because she was flirting then, child. Just say something. Ooh-wee. Next up, we have Steve and Noi with a special appearance by Sriracha. This is going to be my viewer statement. I don't trust Noi for Steve. I don't think Noi's ready. I think Noi is still really scared. I think, in my opinion, it looks like they have decided this is an arranged marriage and we're just going to work it out. I do love that they are getting tools. They're in therapy. They're working together. I love that. But Noi's body language is she's still very separate from him. I don't know if she sees Steve as a partner. Sometimes I feel like she sees Steve as the enemy. That is a problem. That is going to cause a big issue later on down the line. But they're getting help, so that's good. So we learned that she kept her place because that was an important time for her. And I don't think she's mourning that time yet. And she may still need to be there. Like, it's okay. You don't have to be married, right? But she's married. She wants to stay. But they live together 6 days out of the week at Steve's place. Steve explains that he has made some great investments. He saved his money, and that's why he is able to be comfortable. He let her know, he gave her time frame and when he'll start looking for a job if needed. Meaning, if I don't make more money, if the option is that I'm making more money doing what I'm doing, then I'm not going to get a 9 to 5. Okay, it depends on where we are. So they've compromised there. They've compromised on when to have children or how many children and when to have them. So they are making some compromises and having that conversation about how to move forward. She's been to the family, been to a couple of family functions, and I just feel like Noi has a lot of healing to do. I think a lot of those things kind of make her jealous of Steve, you know. Instead of saying, hey, I now have this family that's loving and supportive, and they get along and we could be creative. I think she kind of views it as he has it good. You know, she makes those kind of comments like he doesn't know what it's like, you know? So I don't know if she's really receptive yet, but we'll see. I don't see all the ins and outs of their relationship, but that's the concern I have. And then even with, like, she kept covering up her ring, and I'm like, why are you covering your ring? I thought she loved her ring. I don't know. Her body language on the couch, she was kind of separate from him. I'm like, did you guys have an argument before this, or what's going on? I don't know. Something was off, but I don't know that I trust her for him right now. I still think that Noi would do best, in my opinion, with, you know, staying single for a while, maybe just dating, but really working on herself and figuring out what it is that she really wants to do. And, you know, you can't want to be independent in a relationship that requires interdependence. It's one thing to be an individual. Being an individual is one thing, but being independent in a relationship where you two have to depend on one another is problematic, you know? And they're trying to balance it out, but they're getting help, so that's it. Sriracha came and she offered her advice and input. I said that I wanted to see more of Sriracha, but I meant like with Noi, not at the reunion. I'm like, I don't know how I feel about Sriracha being at the reunion. Also, I have concerns with Sriracha giving so much input on their relationship. I'm a little concerned about that. You have to be careful about what you share with your family, especially since Noi at times likes to present Steve to be a little different than what we see Steve presenting himself as. Like, the experiences don't line up to me. And so I feel for that, you know, and they're trying to say that Steve is kind of sarcastic, but I'm like, so is Noi, very much so, all of the time. And then Steve kind of reacts. So I don't know how I feel about that. Like, I'm all for getting the anger. If you guys know my content, I talk about having solid friends and family, but that's really for you. That is not for you to have them intertwine into your relationship. Plus, you don't want them to have a view of your partner, and then when you guys are on great terms, they're still holding on to an argument that you guys had, or a situation. Like, everybody was thinking that Steve was just trying to live off of Noi, and that wasn't it at all. He just wants to be an independent worker. He's an entrepreneur more than he is a 9-to-5 traditional worker. That's all, you know. So Noi did say that she is starting to get a better understanding of Steve in that way, and an understanding of the lifestyle, but I still don't think she's really comfortable with it. I still don't think she likes that, at least at this moment, he gets to live his best life and she has to go in and put in 40 hours. I think that's an issue also. So I think, I don't know, I don't speak poorly or badly about a relationship as far as whether people will make it or not. If they are both healthy and happy, I hope they do. But I really do have some concerns about the two of them. But we'll see what happens. Lastly, we have Mark and Lindsey. And let me tell you something. I had a feeling that this would happen. So essentially, they fixed up Mark's place and then they broke up. And like I've stated before, I think if Lindsey had consistently been more kind and more gentle, Mark would have stayed with her. But because she is so up and down, she's very abusive, and she attacks him a lot, she emasculates him a lot, I knew he wouldn't stay. He was kind of like biding his time. I personally feel like Mark decided, like, right now I need her, so I'm not going to say no. Mark said that he's walked away from relationships before and he didn't want to risk walking away from a potentially good relationship. And maybe he did feel like maybe once the cameras go away, she won't behave the way that she behaved. But for me, I saw Mark check out a long time ago. You know, every time he looked at her or she touched him, you know, it was just always uncomfortable. I do believe there's truth in what Lindsey says, that he wants to please people. I do believe that is true. But again, as I've been stating the whole season, Lindsey doesn't understand how her behavior, especially her abusive behavior towards him, is causing him to react the way that he does. Now, we're all accountable for our own behaviors, but there is a cause and effect factor, and the way you behave can cause a person to behave a certain way towards you, you know. And he can give his all, be comfortable and safe when he knows this is an unsafe environment. So apparently they've been fighting every week, and basically he feels like she's been bullying him, and she said some really awful things, and he put her out. And then she writes a letter, takes a whole bunch of digs at him. She was taking digs throughout the whole episode that we saw them, the reunion that we saw them together. And it's just like, Lindsey, honey, how do you want him to react? You know, he doesn't have any intellect. He doesn't have any culture. You know, I made you better. You got the Lindsey effect and things like that. And I'm gonna be honest, yes, Mark is gonna take some new young lady out on a sushi date. He's gonna show a new young lady some of the things that Lindsey has exposed him to. But she wasn't stable enough for him. And that was the issue with the two of them. So Lindsey has moved to, I believe, San Francisco. She moved to California. She has a new job. She started over. She looks good. And, you know, I hope Lindsey is doing well out there. You know, maybe she'll start dating engineers again. She made the comments about that's why she dates engineers, because they're smart. And, you know, she's usually not the smartest person in her relationship. Just completely disrespectful and unnecessary. You know, you moved on and you're happy. Hey, I moved on. I'm happy. I'm living my best life. I wish Mark well. But no, not Lindsey. Lindsey has to dig and then take a knife and twist it and dig it and twist it some more. So that's really it with the two of them. Mark is doing well. He's lost 40 pounds. He has a new career. He's making more money. He had a nice outfit on. You know, Mark Shark is sharking. So good for Mark. I wish them both well. We didn't get any updates on his mom and his grandmother, but I hope they're well as well. You know, and that's pretty much it with the two of them. Kind of more of the same, but they didn't stay together. They've moved on. And good for the both of them, because I can only imagine how stressful that relationship was on a day-to-day basis. So that's it on my thoughts on Married at First Sight reunion part 1. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I will be MIA next week. Like I said, I may combine where they are now or where are they now and part 2 week after next. I will be traveling back and forth, but I will see you guys back here soon. I hope you have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful week. Please don't forget to love yourself for who you are. Have a good night. Bye bye.